All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have an issue here. I'm not going to lie to you. It is April 30th. Best Ball Mania launched yesterday, and I am already going a little too hard. I'm already addicted, if we have a lack of a better word, because, I want to save these. We have all offseason to draft. But I've already been in like 5 or 6, okay? I'm going to try to slow down just a bit. I'm probably going to continue to do them every single day on the live stream. The main issue is not doing them on the live stream, right? We can go through and do one every single day on the live stream, and I'll just be completely fine. We get to hang out with y'all in the chat. I need to stop doing these all day at the gym because we only have 150 teams we can draft in Best Ball Mania. Then we max it out. I kind of want to save some of these until we get closer to the season. But God, this is fun. I am excited to be back. I'm excited that we have Best Ball Mania. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us. We have a lot of people out here in the chat. And yes, I think we have a lot of people excited that we have Best Ball Mania launched on Underdog. I've seen so much positive feedback of the format that we have here now that you actually have a $15 million prize pool in Best Ball Mania. You can see 10,000 entrants in less than 24 hours. It's been open. $3 million to first place, but not only do you have the crazy prizes as we always do, but also the regular season prize breakdown makes this just so much more exciting because we actually get to sweat during the year as well and not just worry about weeks 15, 16, 17. So it's good news, bad news. Good news is I get to have fun in these drafts again. Bad news is it's going to consume my life yet again, but really, that's probably some good news. But we have Jesus says, which I can crush you on a time with a best ball league. Nick says, how many of these have you done so far, Mason? I think we've done maybe 7, 8 in less than 24 hours. And that's what I was saying. We have to slow this down, right? We can't keep going at this pace. But real quick, just a side note. We have updated our Dynasty rankings over there on FlockFantasy.com. So, of course, if you want to get access to both my Dynasty rankings and then also all the rankings of your favorite content creators. We have Fantasy Stock Exchange, we have Dynasty Land Football, we have Fantasy Endgame, we have everybody over there. I'm actually about to put out an article as well about updated Dynasty Rookie Draft ADP. You can find a link to FlockFantasy.com in the description of this, as well as the comment section. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get 30% off any subscription over there on FlockFantasy.com. But we have Jefferson Chase going off the board here at 1 and 2. Pick 7's interesting, right? Because at pick 7, we may come away with an elite level wide receiver, but I actually had a draft earlier today off the live stream where I was actually able to take Travis Kelce at pick 7, which I ended up taking him there, even if I really wanted to go like A.J. Brown instead, just because I felt like it was a way to create a unique build out the gate. Not many teams are going to have Kelce fall to you at 7, but in reality, more times than not, we're going to be taking either Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, or Stephon Diggs with this selection. I kind of want to reach on Bijan Robinson because, of course, is a running back that I want to root for. This is going to be someone we're about to order his jersey with, strictly because you have to start 3 wide receivers here. And like we showed in the stream yesterday, the running back values that we're going to get in the middle rounds are just straight up ridiculous. I feel like we kind of have to go wide receiver. Nick says he's up to 9 drafts already here. Radius in this draft with us has the 111. Happy to see it, my man. Cody says, is there a plan on the horizon for a Flock Fantasy mobile app? Will be cool. We have a lot going on here with FlockFantasy.com, my friend. We have some massive updates that we are going to be pushing out over the next few days that will give really cool features to a lot of people that I can guarantee you wouldn't guess what they are. An app will be very cool, but it's not something that we can do right now. We have a lot on our roadmap of how we are wanting to improve the site and new features that we're wanting to roll out through the rest of this offseason. Maybe during the year, we can work on developing an app. That way we can have a little bit of an easier mobile view next season. So yeah, we have a lot going on FlockFantasy.com, but no app right now. Luke says, do you think wide receivers are going too high now on Underdog? They've been going higher and higher every year. Last year, they were definitely going too high, but it really just, I don't want to say it's a lose-lose. How do I put this? You have to kind of find where you're going to take your L, right? Like, for instance, Slick Willie here decides to go Garrett Wilson over Austin Eckler. In a vacuum, does it seem like it's a smart decision to go Garrett Wilson over Austin Eckler? Probably not, right? In a vacuum. No, maybe the wide receivers are being drafted a little too high there. But then if we go and look at the wide receiver ADP that we're going to have later on, like let me go ahead and let me just give you an example in the middle rounds. Like if we are going to be looking at, say, Brian Robinson or Elijah Moore, if we're going to be looking at Allen Lazard or Antonio Gibson, you kind of have to pick and choose your battles. Deontay Johnson versus Joe Mixon. So here, that's why I'm always willing to, on Underdog, quote unquote, overdraft the wide receivers in rounds 1 and 2 like we did last year, where in the middle rounds, we allow ourselves to just slam running back value, how we were grabbing Josh Jacobs in the 7th round in every draft last year. So you have to pick and choose your battles. It's not so much, oh, quote unquote, wide receivers are going too high. That's not what it is. It's if this is the ADP, where is the opportunity cost of taking a wide receiver in round 1 versus a running back versus the opportunity cost of taking a wide receiver in round 7 versus a running back that will be there. Okay. So let's see. And we're going to go Jalen Waddle at 18. I understand a lot of people don't like Tua. I understand that it's hard to imagine exactly how the Miami Dolphins are going to support both Tyreek Hill as well as Jalen Waddle. Tua led the NFL in adjusted yards per pass attempt last season. I mean, Jalen Waddle was an elite rookie. He was an even better second-year player. Tua stays healthy this next year. I think Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are both top 10 wide receivers in fantasy. And real quick, of course, if you want to get in these underdog drafts, if you want to be able to go take your shot in Best Ball Mania, you can also find the link in the description, the comment section, and the live chat. Sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK. And you're going to get a 100% deposit match available in damn near every state. I think it's available in like 45 states, available in Canada as well, just not available in Ontario. I think Ontario has no DFS style contest anymore, but we also have some more exciting things for everybody who's already a member of FlockFantasy.com and a member of Underdog. If you are a member of both, either now, next week, or a month from now, you are going to get exclusive merch going in your direction, which I am very excited about, for free, of course. And then on top of that, even if you already got your 100% deposit match on Underdog Fantasy last year, the year before that, if you're a member of FlockFantasy.com, you are also going to get Underdog credit added to your account. We are hooking it all up very soon for y'all. And I'm very excited about it because obviously I love Underdog, love FlockFantasy.com. Use promo code FLOCK for both if you want to get access to those perks. Are we going to be getting our guy here? Let's see. There are going to be 2 different players we're looking at. Okay, Ramondre Stevenson goes. We're going to go ahead. We will take DK Metcalf here at pick 31. I mean, in a vacuum, I think Travis Etienne's a better selection than DK Metcalf. It just goes back to what we were discussing previously. Would I rather grab a Deontay Johnson in round 8? Or would I rather grab Joe Mixon in round 8? In my mind, I'd rather have the combination of like DK Metcalf and Joe Mixon rather than the combination of Travis Etienne and Deontay Johnson. So we're going to continue to go wide receiver early here. That way we are allowed to slam running backs in the middle rounds. That's the main thing that we're going to be looking at. Cade says, is the crowded backfield a worry for Bijan Robinson? Hell no, my friend. It is not. Hell no, it is not. Derek says, ugly team. My friend, we may or may not have won $150,000 on Underdog. May or may not have been the only person to win multiple high-stakes drafts on Underdog Fantasy last year. 16th place in Best Ball Mania as well. So, my friend, you are more than welcome to join these drafts with us. You're more than welcome to come in and see if you can beat yours truly, because I doubt it. I doubt it. Okay. Now, Quentin says, I just took Kondre Miller over A-Chain, Mims, Hooker, and Jonathan Mingo in a Superflex rookie draft. Is this a mistake? The choice was so hard. I'm actually about to make a post on FlockFantasy.com. What I did is I went through and I grabbed, I think we've had 12 Dynasty rookie drafts so far, and I tracked every single pick and created an updated Dynasty rookie ADP that, of course, is going to be better than Sleeper ADP. Sleeper ADP, for whatever reason, is just never good. And we're going to post that on FlockFantasy.com literally right after this live stream. We've already made it. But I think that should be able to help you a lot in the second round with the decisions that you're making. Luke says, Ridley has skyrocketed up ADP over the last month. Yeah. I mean, if y'all remember like the first big board tournament draft on Underdog this offseason, like right back whenever we had the Super Bowl, you actually had Calvin Ridley going at the end of the third, the beginning of the fourth. So interested to see that he's back here after slipping a bit. I mean, but the Jacksonville Jaguars really didn't do too much to add in competition in this year's draft. So let's see what we get. I'm assuming maybe it's going to be a wide receiver here with DeAndre Hopkins. But if it's not Hopkins, it's not the end of the world. We'll figure it out. Volby says, in the future, after many more rookie drafts, would you be able to? Yeah, I'll make a video. Okay, George Kittle going off the board. So actually, we don't have to grab DeAndre Hopkins. Instead, we're going to get Najee Harris, who in my mind is a big winner in this year's NFL draft. If you're looking at Najee Harris, yes, the player that we were not excited about last year. We were saying, why would you ever draft Najee Harris in the first when like David Montgomery and Josh Jacobs in the seventh are about the same guys? Well, now if we are going to be getting Najee Harris, pick 42, he's in a better situation in that this is a running back that has offensive line improvements. They invited nobody else into this running back room, and we can presumably see him at 100% health this next season where he was not there last year. So I really like Najee Harris at pick 42, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think if we're looking at the decision to go wide receivers early on, it makes a lot of sense in that I would rather have Stephon Diggs and Najee Harris than Bijan Robinson and Christian Watson. Like, if we look at our wide receiver running back versus if we flipped the wide receiver running backs in the first and fourth round, I personally would choose Diggs, Najee over Bijan, Christian Watson. Okay. Thoughts on the Bears backfield post-bye week? Do you expect it to be Roschon's? I really don't know. I mean, I would say from a dynasty perspective, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Roschon Johnson over Khalil Herbert. From a redraft perspective, I'm probably going to go Khalil Herbert over Roschon. But I think it's really up in the air. It's just not a super valuable offense in general. And keep in mind, you have Deontay Foreman there who may mix in a little bit. But D. Whitmore out here in the chat with the donation. Thank you so much, my man. Says, being offered the 102, 104, 109 for Jalen Waddle, the 106, 109 in a one quarterback format. Feel like it might be worth to get Jackson Smith and Jigba, Quentin Johnson, Anthony Richardson, given it would diversify risk and give me two potential wide receivers with upside. Okay, so if we're going to be looking at the 102, that will be, say, either Jackson Smith and Jigba or Jahmyr Gibbs. You're saying you would take JSN there. So it's JSN, Quentin Johnston, and then 109 is pretty much nothing. I mean, if you're looking at Waddle in the 106, that's going to be like either Jalen Waddle and Zay Flowers or Jalen Waddle and it's going to be Jalen Waddle and Zay Flowers. If we're going to be honest with each other, I don't think you're taking Zach Charbonnet there. I'm assuming you didn't mean to include the 109 as they're on both sides of the deal. So if I would look at Jackson Smith and Jigba as well as Quentin Johnston versus Jalen Waddle as well as Zay Flowers, I think it is a fair deal. Personally, I am probably going to go ahead and take Jalen Waddle. I love JSN. We got to interview JSN. I loved him before the NFL draft. And of course, I'm an even bigger fan now. But still, at the end of the day, I mean, Jalen Waddle, he was a phenomenal prospect coming out. Not only was he a great prospect coming out, but you see the top end production this past year. He had it as a rookie as well. I mean, Waddle checks pretty much every single box that you're going to look at. And real quick, we hit 100 likes on this live stream. Thank you so much for everybody going down there and dropping a like on the stream. I really appreciate it. Now, Aaron Jones goes 56. So we take Jackson Smith and Jigba at 55. So when we have DK Metcalf here, we've already made that bet on the Seattle Seahawks passing offense being better than expected. So I feel like if we go ahead and take Jackson Smith and Jigba, we're essentially doubling down on that one consolidated bet. And what we're probably going to be doing from here is we're probably going to go ahead and grab Geno Smith a little later on. I mean, we're at least definitely planning on grabbing him. I don't know if it's going to be as easy as we make it out to seem, but we'll figure it out. Okay. Now we have Michael Pittman, Chris Godwin, both going off the board directly after. The thing is, like Aaron Jones, I feel like he's comparable to some of the other running backs I'll be looking at on the way back around. No, I do not think Deuce Vaughn will have any relevancy. And do I think Zeke is coming back to Dallas? I have no idea what's going to go on with Ezekiel Elliott, if I'm going to be honest with you, my friend. But yeah, I'm not worried about that. Pokemon says, will 3 wide receivers get 1,000 yards and a lot of touchdowns for the Seattle Seahawks? Probably not, if we're going to be honest with each other. But, I mean, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take JSN as an option with a much higher ceiling than what I think you actually have with Tyler Lockett. So we're going to go ahead and grab Jackson Smith and Jigba there. Now we have Sanders, Dalvin, Pitts all going off the board. Okay. About to be up at pick 66. What I like about picking in the middle is you just actually kind of get the luxury of just taking the value that falls to you. It's not like we're having to go through and reach on any player in particular. Okay, DeAndre Swift goes 63. To be honest with you, I don't know if Swift would have been a running back we would have taken here. The three players that I'm looking at, to be completely honest, are just the three guys at the top of ADP. I mean, maybe you throw Ayuk into the same tier, but in my mind, when we go with that 4 wide receiver approach out the gate, I'm not too excited about taking Ayuk here. I'm fine with the Dobbins. I'm fine with the Pierce. I'm fine with the Dallas Goedert value. Just really whoever falls to us. We'll just see who it is. So yeah, at this point, it's either going to be Dobbins or Goddard. I'm fine with either guy. Okay. Team never quit on the clock has Jalen Hurts. So you'd assume they go ahead and take Dallas Goedert, but they also drafted George Kittle. Let's see what they do. They're taking this all the way down. They go Tyler Lockett. Okay, Lockett obviously wasn't someone that we were looking at. I mean, we can take Metcalf, we can take Jackson Smith and Jigba on the same team, but then to go through and take Tyler Lockett as well, I feel like at some point you are going to cap your ceiling there just a bit because obviously you can't have all three of those wide receivers going for 150 yards in the same week. So we will go ahead. We'll take Dobbins, who's a massive winner in this year's draft class. You have no running backs going over there to Baltimore. You have him now 2 years removed from the torn ACL. And we have to remember, I was excited to draft J.K. Dobbins here at pick 66 a year ago. I was getting Dobbins in round 6, in round 7, and I was excited about it. So now that we zoom past a year, and we know that he has nobody else going to his backfield, he is healthier than he was. And the same price, in theory, I should be more excited about J.K. Dobbins at pick 66 than I was a year ago. Okay. Yes, I believe that you most likely from a median projection have both Lockett as well as Jackson Smith and Jigba pretty even. But we can't draft fantasy football teams based off their median projection. We really have to be thinking about their top end range of outcomes as well if we want to have that truly elite level finish, like the way we won the $100,000 in the big dog tournament last year on Underdog wasn't by thinking of their median projection. It was by thinking of that top end range of outcomes and asking ourselves, if everything goes right, how high can this player get? And if everything goes right, how high is Tyler Lockett? The wide receiver 13 on a points per game basis, the wide receiver 14 on a points per game basis, where if everything goes right, Jackson Smith and Jigba can be a top 5 guy at the end of the year. And of course, we're talking about the top 1 to 2 percentile outcome. Like, it's not likely that that happens, but we're talking about best case scenario here. Okay. Treylon Burks goes 74. Okay. Let's see what we have on the way back around. So Tua's going to be in play considering the fact that we take Jalen Waddle, but we can try to get a little sneaky with it, right? Because if we think about this, the team that took Tyreek Hill is here at pick 77. So we are going to have 2 picks before the team who took Tyreek Hill is back up on the clock. Assuming they pass on Tua here, there's a shot that we could pass on Tua ourselves. And because no teams behind us have either Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, there's an outside chance that we could actually have that player making it back around to us. Watson goes 77, so it's a little less likely that we could get that kind of value making it back, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, Akers goes. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Darren Waller. I think if we take Darren Waller, we'll be allowed to only draft 2 tight ends through this entire draft. And also, if we take Darren Waller here, we are going to have the possibility of Tua falling to us, considering the fact that we are the only team with the Miami Dolphin between these next 2 picks. And if Tua does not fall to us, then we could go in the direction of Daniel Jones, and we could still get the stack with Darren Waller. So Dak Prescott goes. So now at this point, we really are hoping that you are going to have Tua falling. I would prefer Tua over Daniel Jones, but we'll see. We have a potential stack with both guys. So we'll see what happens. Lopez, happy to see you out here, my man. Long time no see, says, hey, Mason, from 1-6 to winning the whole league, thanks to your advice. As a Seahawks fan, what round should we be drafting DK Metcalf or Jackson Smith-Njigba? Also, what player do you think we are sleeping on this year in fantasy? Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at what we actually have, both with the Seattle Seahawks guys in this draft, and then on top of that, maybe a player that I think is a little undervalued in a draft like this, right? So if we're looking at the Seattle Seahawks guys, I personally go through and grab DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba round 3 and round 5. But keep in mind, this is a best ball format on Underdog Fantasy where you have to start 3 wide receivers. So inherently, these guys are sliding up draft boards because they're wide receivers. So if we were talking about a regular fantasy football draft, shallow starting lineup requirements, I mean, we really don't have too many things that we need to be worrying about in terms of, okay, what about the bye weeks? What about the injuries? We need to have depth at the position. No, I mean, if we only start 2 wide receivers in a flex, or we only start 2 wide receivers and 2 flexes, and it's a regular fantasy football league, I think there, instead of taking Metcalf in the middle of round 3, I think we'll be looking at Metcalf in the middle of round 4. Instead of looking at Jackson Smith-Njigba around 5, I think we'll actually be looking at him closer to round 7. But of course, that's how we're going to be adjusting given our league format in general. So that's a good answer for the Seattle Seahawks side of things. And then in terms of a player that I think people are sleeping on in fantasy right now, looking at Jahan Dotson with where he goes here amongst the other wide receivers, it's not like I want to say, oh, 8th round Jahan Dotson's phenomenal, because with 8th round Jahan Dotson, he is so much better than Rachaad White, Javonte Williams, Cam Akers. I don't want to look at it through that lens, but instead, if we look at it compared to the other wide receivers he's being drafted around, when he's going after Courtland Sutton, when he's going after Gabe Davis, when he's going after Brandon Cooks, when he's going after Deontay Johnson, I think that Jahan Dotson is a phenomenal selection given the fact that it's a wide receiver. As a strong prospect coming out of Penn State, absolutely dominated as a junior and a senior there. And on top of this, he has a respectable rookie season when he is healthy. I like Jahan Dotson as a potential sleeper this season if he continues to be drafted behind guys like Courtland Sutton, Gabe Davis, Brandon Cooks, and Deontay Johnson. Okay, but thank you again so much, my man, for being a longtime member of the flock and always supporting the channel. Happy to see you back out. Okay, so now we have James Cook, David Njoku, Evan Ingram, Quentin Johnston, Alvin Kamara. So yeah, just like what we were saying, the reason we roll the dice and pass on Tua back in the 7th round is because we take a look across the entire league and say, okay, with the Tyreek Hill owners drafting on this side of us, there's a good shot we can pass on Tua and we can get him back in the 8th round. Works out perfectly, of course. So yeah, I think we can be very happy about how we operated there in the 7th and 8th round. Now, Quentin Johnston making it to 94. I really like the Quentin Johnston selection as well. If we're going to compare him to the other wide receivers, like Jordan Addison goes way back at pick 73. I think that's a fine Quentin Johnston selection as well. Okay, so let's swing this back around. Tanner says, do you have to pay to get in these mocks? Yes, this is the Best Ball Mania tournament on Underdog. Underdog also has like $3 drafts. That way you can go through and get into like some mock drafts that are actually very valuable because people stayed to the end. But this is the entry price. Here's all the information of the tournament, of course. Go through and read the exact rules. So yeah, with these tournament drafts, you are going to be in a large pool. Obviously, that allows those prizes at the very top to be monstrous. And like I said, we ended up winning across all Underdog tournaments last year, profiting about $150,000. So last year we did very well. This year it's probably not going to be close to that, but we'll figure it out along the way. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so there are a couple players that I like, but not at their ADP. Let's see what God Faber does. Goes Rashad Bateman. So yeah, this is why like we take wide receivers early and prepare to slam running backs in this range. Look, the next best wide receivers are Juju, Jacoby Myers. And I love the running backs here in terms of the range of outcomes. But the thing is, if we take Pat Freiermuth, I think there's a chance that we can actually get away with only having to draft 2 tight ends. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Pat Frymuth. Obviously, they add in Darnell Washington, which isn't great. But I think we can assume that Darnell Washington doesn't make a big impact year one. I think we can also assume that Darnell Washington probably plays a little bit more in line. Frymuth had a great year one, great year two. I think that it helps the roster construction because if we pass on a tight end here, I'll feel like we're stuck in no man's land just a little bit and probably have to draft 3 of these guys. So from a roster construction standpoint, we'll go Frymuth. I don't love it. Okay. Now, Kevin, he says, at the 303 with 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, are we going to go Hopkins, Debo, or Breece Hall? Okay, so I personally am going to go ahead and take Breece Hall here, my friend, almost regardless of what the format is, regardless of if it's an underdog draft where obviously we're pushing wide receivers up, or if it's going to be a traditional league where maybe you're going to lean with the running back in comparison of those wide receivers. With Hall, is a phenomenal year one player. You don't have to worry about is he coming in. He's just going to be a backup running back there. With Breece Hall, he had an elite target ceiling. I don't want to have to sit here and talk about why Breece Hall is so good. I mean, the man was an elite prospect. He was a phenomenal pass catcher out of the backfield as a rookie as well. So I think we're really excited. And oh my gosh, we have over 400 people watching this. Dear God, we may go ahead and get another draft going after this, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all want to see another draft, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. If we hit 300 likes on the stream, we will fire up another draft. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft with us, we're going to be doing one of these pretty much every single day until the start of the year. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. Get your first deposit match dollar for dollar up to 100. Get our rankings. And at the same time, available in over 40 states. So and make sure you're getting in these streets. But yeah, you can tell people are excited about Best Ball Mania. Okay. Yeah, there are going to be 2 players we're looking at here. We're either going Rashad Penny or Damien Harris. I've actually drafted a lot of Damien Harris this year, and I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. But I feel like Damien Harris was a big-time winner of the draft. You have no running back going to Buffalo. Obviously, with Damien Harris, you still maybe have to worry about Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette. But as it stands, I mean, you have Harris as the first and second down guy, James Cook as that passing down running back, and one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the NFL. So yeah, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Harris here at 14. We're going to hope that we end up getting Geno Smith on the way back around in the 11th. I think we can almost pull the same thing we did with Tua, saying, okay, well, we took DK Metcalf. We took Jackson Smith-Njigba. So most likely these teams on the end here aren't incentivized to take Geno Smith, and we could see guys like Anthony Richardson instead going off the board. So let's see if we have some of these maybe rookie quarterbacks with a higher ceiling going off, then we're able to take Geno Smith at 127 to get the double stack with both DK Metcalf and JSN. James says, I think Harris shines in Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, with Harris in a best ball format, I think we get some random spike touchdown weeks, right? Like, Harris will find the end zone even if Josh Allen is going to vulture some of those touchdowns. And then I guess we also took Damien Harris's brother in this draft as well. So we have the Harris brothers. We can go through and nickname this underdog draft afterwards. I mean, the Harris family reunion. Is that a good one? Okay. Russ goes 118. If I'm fine seeing purple, I'm fine seeing quarterbacks go off the board as long as their name's not Geno Smith. We can get Geno Smith making it back. I really like the Elijah Mitchell selection as well. With Elijah Mitchell, I mean, yes, you have CMC there, but at the end of the day, you still will probably get a few random touchdowns from Elijah Mitchell through the course of the season. And then on top of this, you are also going to be having that elite handcuff just in case Christian McCaffrey were to go down. Ryan says, what is going on? Already having a draft. Yes, sir. My man. We are going to be drafting a ton of these. Y'all know we drafted over 700 underdog teams last year. Metal Vault. Yeah, I actually really do like the selection of Michael Mayer over to Las Vegas. I think it makes a lot of sense bringing Michael Mayer to replace Darren Waller. Okay, let's see if we get our guy. I think we probably, at least at the quarterback position, worked this draft perfectly. See what happens. They don't have they go Goff. Okay. This team has Watson, Anthony Richardson. So be surprised if they go with the third quarterback. This is the team I think we'd have to potentially be worried about, but they did not take Lockett. So I think we have a shot at getting Geno here. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Geno Smith making it to us. Literally perfect. Y'all are watching a masterclass right now. Let's go ahead and let's show this off. So, top 4-ish, 5-ish round. Like, of top 4 rounds, there's not too much strategy to it. It's just, okay, we're going to pick our best player here. We're going to set ourselves up in a position later on in the draft to be making some moves, making some plays, right? But starting in round 5, this is where we start to put the meat of the team together, right? We already have the foundation. We have that first level of bread on the very bottom. And now we're going to start putting the meat in the sandwich. We go Jackson Smith-Njigba primarily because we took DK Metcalf in round 3. We think that we can get that correlation with the Seattle Seahawks offense. We can set ourselves up in the potential to go with Geno Smith later on. So I'm very excited about that selection there. Then in the 6th round, we go Dobbins. In my mind, best running back available. We don't need to really talk about that. 7th round's where we have that first decision. Where if we're looking at 7th round, I think most people here would say, okay, well, I need a quarterback. We are going to go ahead. We are going to take Tua because he'll stack with Jalen Waddle, and we just want to make sure that we lock in someone that will score us points at the position. If you looked at his ADP, that is what most people are doing. They are going with Tua there in the middle of the 7th round. However, we took a look at the board, and we identified the fact that we had Waddle, and the Tyreek Hill team was on the other side of the draft board. They were on the left side of the draft board, and we were about to be going to the right side. So the possibility that you would have one of those teams taking Tua was going to be less, considering the fact that they could not stack Tua with a Miami Dolphin. So instead, we grabbed Darren Waller past his ADP, also giving ourselves the potential to go with Daniel Jones at pick 90 if Tua does go off the board. And it works out in our favor. Tua falls to us at 90. Frymuth 103 we take so we can make sure we only have to take 2 tight ends in this best ball format. Damien Harris 114, best player on the board, correlates a little bit with Stephon Diggs. And also, we wanted to look at the fact that we were able to stack Geno Smith because we had Jackson Smith-Njigba. We had DK Metcalf. We didn't have to worry about one of those drafters taking him from us. And then if you also looked at where Tyler Lockett was on this draft board, where Kenneth Walker was on this draft board, they were on the right side of the draft board. And we were going to the left. So there was no team in those 11-pick stretch that had a Seattle Seahawk other than us. So we roll the dice. We see if we can get Geno Smith, very similar to Tua, way behind his ADP, where we get Tua pick 90, ADP 81. Geno Smith, we get pick 127, ADP 114, and it works out in our favor both times. I think that was almost perfect there. Love what we did. Now let's go ahead and let's primarily look at running back and wide receivers. So I think we're probably going to take a running back here. We're either going to go Gibson or Roschon. We're going to go Gibson. I think Gibson's also another quiet winner of this year's draft. Washington doesn't take another running back. They move on from J.D. McKissick earlier this offseason. They actually improved the offensive line. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Antonio Gibson at pick 138. But A to Z, long-time member of the flock coming out of the dono. Thank you, my man says. Amazing job at the draft, Mason. Thank you. I'm losing my mind at the 102 in a Dynasty Superflex. Tempted to take Richardson instead of Young, chasing the higher ceiling. We have Russ, Purdy, Pickett, and Sam Howell as our quarterbacks. So personally, I have Bryce Young ranked ahead of Anthony Richardson in Dynasty Superflex drafts right now. However, I actually just went through and looked at the 11 leagues where we've already had our Dynasty Rookie Draft and created our own ADP from it. And you actually have Anthony Richardson with a higher Dynasty ADP right now than Bryce Young. So first off, I want to say the majority of people are going to agree with you to be going with Anthony Richardson over Bryce Young. Now, I think a way that we can honestly maybe break this tie in Dynasty is if you're playing in a league where you have a 4-point passing touchdown format, then there maybe the rushing upside is going to matter a little bit more and you want to go Richardson. If you're playing in a league where you have a 6-point passing touchdown format, there maybe the rushing upside matters a little bit less and we want to go ahead and we want to take Bryce Young. So, yeah. I think we want to go ahead and plead the fifth here if I can, my man. It's going to be extremely close. But real quick, how about we have 400 people out in the chat. Can Everybody, please help A to Z. He has been a long time member of the flock here. If you would take Anthony Richardson, can you please spam Richardson? If you would take Bryce Young, please spam Bryce Young. Who are you preferring there? Please spam the chat. Okay, Condre Miller, Roshan Johnson go 145, 146. We would have taken Roshan if you would have made it back. Okay. Let's see. Young, Richardson. Young. Yeah, most people are going Bryce Young, my friend. I'm actually a little surprised to see people saying that, but that's how I have it ranked. I do have Bryce Young there. Okay. And speaking of quarterbacks, I will do something that I know nobody's going to like. I will do something that I know everybody will hate, but I do not care. I will go ahead and yes, make the mistake. Yes, I will do it. The only quarterback to be drafted inside the top 3 picks of the NFL draft to start less than 40 games in their NFL career since the year 2000 are RG3, who started, I think, 37-ish games, right? I think about 37. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. And then the quarterback for the Raiders way back in the day, Jamarcus Russell, arguably the biggest draft bust in NFL history, who started 25. Historically, the numbers show if you are a top 3 pick in the NFL draft, you will get multiple seasons starting unless you are the biggest draft bust history of all time named Jamarcus Russell. I don't know if Lance will be good from a real life perspective, but I think he will be a starting quarterback this next season. Whether it's for the 49ers or another team, I don't know yet. But he has a lot of rushing upside, and he will be a starter. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make the mistake. I'm going to take Trey Lance. I love it, Zach. Love it, my friend. Love it. Now, Bethy's coming out with the donation. Thank you. Says, great drop. God, I can't talk. Great job at the draft, sir. Happy it's that time of the year. Let's go for our 3rd straight work pool victory. Are we going to go Kenneth Walker or Bijan this year? Thank you so much, my man, for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. I would have said Bijan Robinson even if Zach Charbonnet was not drafted to the Seattle Seahawks. But now that you have Zach Charbonnet drafted to Seattle, I think at this point, you easily have to say Bijan Robinson, in that the Seattle Seahawks going out of their way and taking a 2nd round drafted running back tells us it's not a good situation for Kenneth Walker. Like, we don't know exactly how much this team believes in Kenneth Walker. We don't know what kind of workload they want to give him. Okay. So now we're exclusively running back and wide receiver from here on out in this draft. Let's see what we get. I kind of want to take Jaylen Warren. If this is true, my friend, it is not on purpose. I will go through and I will fix that. Okay. What are we doing here, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Devin Singletary. Now, this isn't an easy decision, right? I think out of those running backs, the best guy on the list in terms of making a pick in a vacuum is actually going to be Jaylen Warren, right? I think in the majority of drafts, I will take Jaylen Warren over Devin Singletary. However, in this one in particular, when we already took Najee Harris as our running back 1, we already made that bet that Najee Harris both stays healthy and finds success. And this team's not going to be good. This team's not going to be the number 1 team winning $3 million if Najee Harris gets hurt. It does not help us to take Jaylen Warren. If Jalen Warren somehow wins the job as the running back one in Pittsburgh this next year, it is not a good thing. This team has no shot to begin with. So let's go ahead. Let's take Devin Singletary, another running back that should be in a situation where he's maybe seeing like 7-8 touches a game. And also, he is that handcuff type appeal. Singletary is also another winner from the NFL draft where the Houston Texans decide not to bring in a running back. Now, of course, Damien Pierce is the starter, 100%. But that's why we're taking Devin Singletary in round 14 and not round 9. Honestly, no. I don't think Josh Downs has a shot to be the wide receiver one. Yeah, I'm with Bet These here. Could be a wide receiver 2 in a weak offense. I like Josh Downs, the player. I think the landing spot makes a lot of sense from a real life NFL perspective. But from a fantasy football perspective, I don't love the landing spot for Josh Downs. I will say, he's a very good prospect, though. I like Downs, the player. Like, if he falls here, I will consider him. Okay. Now, we have to probably take a wide receiver with this pick. We haven't taken a wide receiver in a long time. Yeah, Downs will be the slot guy, but that doesn't mean you can't score fantasy points. You can still score a lot of fantasy points playing in the slot. Okay, Mostert goes 173. Downs off the board. This is a pick that I've been making, and obviously it's not that exciting now that we have Quentin Johnson coming over. But with Joshua Palmer, if we're able to get him round 15, round 16 as we have been, I'm fine pulling the trigger in that you could still possibly see either Mike Williams or Keenan Allen moved off this Los Angeles Chargers roster this next season if you're looking at their contracts. Not only is it a possibility that one of those guys could be moved off the roster, it's a possibility that Joshua Palmer plays over Quentin Johnson at the beginning of the season. It's a possibility that the team with the worst injury luck or the worst training staff, I don't exactly know which, sees either Mike Williams or Keenan Allen or Quentin Johnson going down to injury this next year. So I'm going to take Joshua Palmer here. It's not like I'm super excited about the selection, but it has been a pick that I've been making very late just because I think there's an outside chance that you have one of those wide receivers moved. If we get to August and you still have the depth chart as is, I'm definitely going to be passing on Joshua Palmer here in favor of Hunter Renfrow. Okay. Jeff Wilson, Kareem Hunt, Tyler Higbee. So we're going to have to take 2 more wide receivers and 1 more running back. I think this is probably going to be a 3-5-6-2 build. I'm sorry, a 3-6-7-2 build. I think this is the right take, to be honest. Except if you're playing in a Dynasty league where you can start 11 or 12 guys and it's a full PPR format. There, I'm fine with Josh Downs. I'm fine with Alec Pierce, honestly, if we're going that deep. But in the majority of like casual redraft leagues, you're not going to want to roster anybody not named Pittman. Okay. Now we are exclusively running back wide receivers still. We need 2 more wide receivers and we need 1 more RB. Shakir's off the board, 183. We're probably going to go ahead and take, in my mind, an easy pick, but we'll see. I was at the gym earlier in a draft, and then I saw Cordell Patterson down in like the 18th round. I was like, oh, 18th round, Cordell Patterson, sign me up. And then I remembered that Bijan Robinson went over there. So we were able to stop ourselves before it was too late. So Jimmy G off the board. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Tyquan Thornton here. Like Tyquan Thornton, not a great rookie. Not someone that I'd be excited about at all in a regular fantasy football format. More just the best ball play. You know he'll be on the field given his speed. I mean, he was a 2nd round draft pick last year. He was injured. Maybe if he's fully healthy going into this next season, Tyquan Thornton could be something, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe he's Tutu Atwell. Maybe he's Dwayne Eskridge. It's entirely possible. Okay. Quentin says, redraft, it's absolutely Pittman. Dynasty, you can buy Pierce on the cheap right now. Can y'all please spam the chat and let me know right now, what rookie pick would you trade for Alec Pierce? Like, try to be specific. I would trade I'm saying the highest rookie pick you would trade. Would you trade the 302 for Alec Pierce? Please let me know. $303. A to Z says 109. You've lost your mind, my friend. 210, 302. So it looks like he's in that early third. So like I said, I am going to put out this article on flockfantasy.com literally the second after this live stream ends. But I went through and I tracked the ADP and all of the 11 Dynasty drafts that I've done so far. And if you were looking at the 302, 303, you're giving up Jaden Reed, you're giving up Chase Brown, you're giving up Laporta, you're giving up Musgrave, you're giving up one of those guys. I'd definitely rather have Reed over Alec Pierce. I'd say the next highest wide receiver would be Cedric Tillman. So if you were talking like Alec Pierce versus Cedric Tillman, completely fine if you wanted to go Alec Pierce there. Okay, Tillman off the board. Where did Pierce go in this draft? Goes pick 148. Let's swing this back around. We are taking one more running back and one more wide receiver. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We will take John Mechie. Are we just making a emotional pick? Is Woods or Campbell the better selection? We'll go John Mechie. We'll make the emotional pick. We'll go as the guy that I want to root for. So I don't know if it's the right selection. He was a strong prospect coming out of Alabama. Goes third round of the NFL draft. Obviously overcomes a ton. Player that I want to root for. I don't know if it's a good bet, but it's a bet that I'd like to make. If we get it right, I'd be very excited about it. But I think we'll probably cut off there. Looks like we did not hit 300 likes in the live stream. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for coming out and hanging out with us during this draft. We are going to be having a big giveaway. So make sure you are entering in by commenting on the live stream that we did. I think Thursday. Yeah, the NFL draft live stream that we did on the main channel where we interviewed those guys. Just drop any comment down below and you're going to be entered to win a pack from NFL All Day. It's going to be the packs we ripped open on the live stream. I think we did 7 of them and they were all worth anywhere from like $500 to $3,000 and we're going to give away all 7. All you have to do is leave a comment on that video, literally with anything. You can just say, "Oh, Mason, you're looking snazzy today," and you'll be entered in to win that giveaway, which we'll probably announce later this week, the winners. But thank you again, everybody. Really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day. And make sure you go use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. Get ready to get in some of these drafts with us because we are going to be doing this over and over and over and over again this offseason because I can't get enough. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Really appreciate you and really hope that you have a great day.